Right now, on to the point. Classroom controversy.
A beloved teacher reassigned after pulling up carpet in a flea-infested school. Why parents are going to bat for her.
A major section of a busy highway is closing this weekend. What you need to know about detours. A new jobs report confirms a slowdown in hiring. A look at the numbers and who President Trump is pointing the finger at. And on the back roads.
Parlor houses at this time were basically entertainment areas for men.
We go below ground for a historical tour of Sacramento.
Good evening and happy Friday to you. Thank you for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and we start tonight with a traffic alert. A big stretch of Interstate 80 is shutting down this weekend for some road work. ABC 10's Garshwal Sangha joins us live in Natomas, where that closure will be happening. And Garshwal, I have to ask you, what do drivers need to know if they are heading out that way?
Yeah, Alex, this weekend it could be big delays, big traffic headaches if drivers are not prepared. We're right along westbound I-80 by West El Camino Avenue. Cars right now on westbound I-80 moving pretty well for a Friday as they head towards the Sacramento River into West Sacramento. But starting tonight at 9, Caltrans is closing westbound I-80 for 55 straight hours as part of a massive pavement project. And that closure runs from I-5, I-80 interchange in Natomas all the way to Highway 50 in West Sacramento. That means drivers heading west on I-80 won't be able to get through until early Monday morning. And that construction work is to demolish and repave westbound I-80 roadway. Now, here are some detours. If you're looking to fly out of Sacramento International Airport, Caltrans says give yourself at least 30 to 40 extra minutes. And if you're heading towards the Bay Area, take I-5 south, then hop onto Highway 50 west and reconnect with I-80. And this is part of that $280 million project to give I-80 a much needed facelift, and several ramps will be closed along this stretch. Those are going to last for a few weeks, but the main stretch that's going to be closing tonight is going to be tonight from 9 p.m. all the way until Monday morning at 4. So Caltrans is asking people to give themselves enough time and also keep it slow out there. Reporting live from Natomas, Garshwal Sangha, ABC 10.
Paul, thank you so much. And make sure that you're patient with everybody. As you mentioned, there's going to be a lot of traffic, so just take your time. All right, in a controversial move, a popular 6th grade teacher has been assigned to a new school after she ripped up carpeting in her classroom. Now, this all happened during a flea infestation at the school last year. And just this week, parents learned as a result, she will not be returning to teach. ABC 10's Becca Habegger spoke with upset parents and the district.
Our school is heartbroken, and I think it will break the Phoebe spirit.
Caitlin Beckett currently has 2 kids at Phoebe Hearst Elementary School in the Sacramento City Unified School District. She and other families are upset that longtime beloved Phoebe Hearst 6th grade teacher Janine Rupert has been reassigned to another school in a controversial decision.
Phoebe Hearst had a flea infestation at the end of last school year. We have messages sent to parents by the school discussing the infestation and steps taken to address it. Parents say it was during that time Mrs. Rupert pulled up part of the carpeting in her classroom.
It actually made a lot of sense to me that she would rip up her carpet.
She says Mrs. Rupert had been asking for a new carpet for years.
I don't think she was thinking of it as destroying property. I think she was thinking of it as like, I'm just gonna replace this with the tile underneath.
But beneath the carpet are tiles containing asbestos, the district says, a substance which, if disturbed and then breathed in, poses a health risk, according to the CDC.
I've spoken with our facilities team, Becca, and they tell me that having asbestos tiles underneath carpet is a pretty standard way that this has been handled over time in terms of being able to kind of cover up those asbestos tiles and keep them from being exposed. As long as they are not broken or damaged, they aren't posing any kind of a safety threat to people.
Brian Heap is the district's chief communications officer. It's unknown whether Mrs. Rupert was aware the tiles under the carpet contained asbestos, and we're told students were in the room when she pulled up the carpeting. As a result of her actions, the district launched an investigation, which just wrapped up this past week.
In this particular case, Becca, we know that none of those tiles were damaged, fortunately, which means that we did not have any exposure to the students who were involved or to any of our staff as a result of what happened in this classroom.
The school year started without Mrs. Rupert and with rotating substitute teachers in her classroom.
We understand why these families are upset. We really do. We understand that it has not been the kind of start to the school year that they envisioned and that they deserve.
Just this week, parents received official word Mrs. Rupert, who has taught at Phoebe Hearst since 2000, will not be returning returning, and a permanent replacement will take over her classroom on Monday.
She's just a lover of the kids, and she's just always present. She's like, I can't imagine our school without her. Where is the grace here, and where is the due process?
We have an investigative process that we follow here, and we did so in this case, and we did so as quickly as we possibly could. And at the end of that investigative process, the decision was made that this teacher will be reassigned to another school.
Beckett says she and parents will continue fighting to have Mrs. Rupert returned to Phoebe Hearst. In Sacramento, Becca Habiger, ABC 10.
More than 100 parents and students showed up to last night's Sac City Unified Board meeting in support of Miss Rupert and asked the district to return her to their school. And we also reached out to the teacher, Miss Rupert, via email today, but we have not heard back yet. All right, COVID-19 levels are on the rise again in the Sacramento region and other parts of the state. And it all comes amid the formation of a new Western States Health Alliance formed over concerns at the CDC. So this week, California joined 3 other states to form the alliance amid what the Department of Public Health is calling uncertainty in the public health landscape. Some of that uncertainty surrounds federal guidance over vaccine eligibility. Now, many are also closely watching to see if insurance companies will continue to cover COVID vaccines if federal guidance continues to change at the CDC.
We may see insurance companies stepping up and saying that they're going to continue to cover the updated vaccines, even though they aren't required to by law. So again, it's an evolving landscape.
She says her agency will continue to follow CDPH guidance and continues to recommend anyone 6 months or older to get vaccinated. President Donald Trump today signed an executive order making the Department of War a secondary title for the Defense Department. The order authorizes the Secretary of Defense and Department of Defense to use secondary titles such as Secretary of War and Department of War in official correspondence and other communications. The Department of War was the original name from 1789 until it was changed in 1947, 2 years after World War II ended. An official name change would require congressional approval. Next, on To the Point, after devastating flames tore through Chinese camps, signs of recovery are emerging. A look at the work being done to help survivors. And the Powerball jackpot has billions of Americans dreaming big, but experts warn that those what-if fantasies can sometimes go a little too far. Later, how to spot the red flags of lottery fever.
And temperatures are going to be below normal for the foreseeable future, even in the low 80s by the time we get to the middle of next week. I'm also tracking some valley rain chances. I've got the full forecast after the break.
But first, another headlines tonight. More than 1,000 healthcare workers marched at Sutter Sacramento Medical Center today. They're calling for safer staffing, fair pay, and investment in underserved communities throughout the Sutter healthcare system. Sutter Health says the SEIU UHW union does not represent any employees at the Sacramento facility. Bay Area commuters had to scramble for alternate routes after BART trains shut down due to a computer issue. This is the second system-wide closure for the rail line in 4 months. The trains were up and running again around noon. And the days of getting compensated for disrupted flights could soon be over. Former President Biden and former Transportation Department Secretary Pete Buttigieg originally proposed the rule back in 2023. The Trump administration wants to end it. Airlines for America, the lobbying group for airlines in the U.S., praised the planned rollback. The Transportation Department said it would still implement consumer protections mandated by Congress.
Welcome back in. We continue to track the devastation in the Tuolumne County community of Chinese Camp. Today, cleanup work continued and help came for those who stayed behind. The 6.5 fire, which tore through Chinese Camp, is just over 7,000 acres and is at 10% containment. As a whole, the TCU September Lightning Complex fire is 22% contained after burning almost 14,000 acres. At least 85 structures have been destroyed and 6 have been damaged. Today was the first day that the Red Cross was even able to access the evacuation zone, delivering supplies to first responders, cleanup crews, and those who stayed behind. Also, PG&E says it expects to have power restored by tomorrow night. Meanwhile, some roads in the area began reopening just earlier today. And with a check of your forecast, let's get things over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef.
Now, the weather is getting better. It's not nearly as hot as it was Labor Day weekend. In fact, it's nowhere near where it was over the Labor Day weekend. And then, of course, we're going to be tracking some rain as we get into next week. So definitely an improvement from the very hot into summer that we had. We made it to only 85 today, 88 in Stockton, 88 in Modesto, 84 in Placerville, and low 80s in the high country, basically 80 across Northern California. And across the valley, it was 3 to about 6 degrees cooler than normal. Right now, upper 70s and low 80s across the valley. Really nice weather for high school football. Again, can't stress this enough, a lot better than where we've been over the last week or two. In terms of winds, a decent Delta breeze, about 10 to 15 miles per hour across the valley, closer to 20-25 out through the Delta and Vacaville Fairfield. As we look at downtown, 81 degrees through the rest of this evening. We're going to be dropping into the 70s and then 60s by the time we get to 10 o'clock. And we'll start tomorrow morning off in those upper 50s. So a cooling trend through the overnight. And it'll be maybe even a little bit chilly to start Saturday morning. However, I do have to say we're going to see that smoke building back in overnight. So if you're headed to Tahoe tomorrow, expect another hazy day with somewhat reduced air quality. Again, cool start. Maybe you need that light jacket if you're out early Saturday morning. You won't need the jacket Saturday afternoon, but still so much nicer than the heat that we had just a weekend ago. 85 the forecast high tomorrow, 87 in Stockton, 88 in Modesto. The weather pattern is changing. That ridge of high pressure starting to move out, and we're going to have a system coming through by the time we get to about Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's going to bring us some cooler temperatures. It's also going to bring us some slight rain chances to the valley. So not much on Saturday, maybe a few scattered showers up near Shasta. A mix of sun and clouds through Sunday afternoon. Then once we get to Monday about lunchtime, we will have some showers out through the north coast, and those showers could linger into the valley through late Monday, and then another round potentially Tuesday and Wednesday before those rain chances start to taper off. So we've got low 80s and some slight valley shower chances for Tuesday and Wednesday particularly. It is going to get back into the 90s for next weekend, but Alex, this next 5, 6, 7 days going to be just absolutely perfect.
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. Right after the break, the latest jobs report showing how hiring is stalling and unemployment is on the rise, what it could mean for your wallet. And a little bit later in the show, a unique look underneath Sacramento, how a massive flood changed the city's landscape. The government's latest job report came in far worse than expected. It's the first report since President Donald Trump fired the previous commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the entity that compiles the data while making unsubstantiated claims that statistics were faked. Now, the unemployment rate ticked up from 4.2 to 4.3%. It's the highest in almost 4 years. The report also revised July's job gains up a bit, but June's revised numbers show a 13,000 job loss instead of a small gain. That negative number, the first since December 2020, ends the second longest period of jobs expansion on record.
Inflation is low and economic growth is solid. Income growth solid as well. So that the only part of the data that's disappointing is that the jobs numbers have been a little bit lower over the last 3 or 4 months.
Business growth. And the Powerball jackpot has now grown to $1.8 billion. This makes it the second largest jackpot in U.S. lottery history. The current jackpot has been rolling over ever since the last winner on May 31st. Powerball's next drawing is Saturday night. Now, the question that I've been asking all week, what would you do with more than $1 billion in your bank account? It's a question that a lot of people have been asking each other as the jackpot continues to rise. But why is it that people get so excited about the idea of just winning the lottery, despite the significant odds that are against us all? Well, Mandy Gaither talks with a psychologist all about that and about how to know if your Powerball fever is getting a little out of hand.
If you're pumped about the Powerball jackpot, you're not alone, despite the fact the odds are against you. To be clear, chances of winning the top prize are around 1 in 292.2 million.
When the numbers rise into the billions, the reward center of the brain lights up like fireworks.
Clinical psychologist Susan Albers with Cleveland Clinic says that releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter made in your brain, also known as the feel-good hormone. She says the lottery creates what's known as the what-if fantasy.
Immediately, you begin to imagine in great detail What would happen if you won the lottery? Maybe buying a home, buying presents for people, quitting your job.
While Albert says it's completely normal to daydream about that island you'd buy with the winnings, she cautions Powerball fever begins to be a problem when a player spends large amounts of money they don't have, or if that money is meant for something else important. Other red flags include thinking obsessively about the lottery, feeling anxious while you wait for numbers to be drawn, or if it's impacting relationships or responsibilities.
Set a limit in terms of dollar amount and frequency in terms of playing the lottery. Think about what you are really craving. Is it excitement, freedom, hope? What is driving you to play the lottery? And there are a lot of different avenues to fulfill that need.
Now, Albert says if playing the lottery becomes a problem in your life, it could be helpful to talk to a mental health professional to help gain control over this need or the urge to play. All right, right after the break, a tour beneath the streets of Old Sacramento, a hidden city with a flooded past. Well, you never know what you'll see on the back roads, and tonight John Bartel takes us on a tour of Sacramento that you may not be familiar with, the city below Sacramento.
Well, you may be familiar with the ground level of Old Sacramento, but there's a whole nother world in the city's underbelly that may surprise you.
John Bartel here, making a little pit stop on the underground tours in Old Sacramento.
In December of 1861, a torrential and unpredictable storm pounded the Pacific coast, causing the Sacramento River to swell more than 20 feet above normal. Within a matter of days, floodwaters ran over the newly constructed levee and drowned the city of Sacramento.
That's roughly about 18, 20 feet up to just below the upper landing up there, and that's how deep the water was.
It took over 4 weeks for the city to drain. The damage and death toll was so extensive, it literally bankrupted the state of California. To prevent future damage from the floods, people of Sacramento made a drastic decision.
So most of the owners here opt to jack their buildings up.
This is the Sacramento History Museum's underground tours, a view of what it looks like when you build a city on top of a city.
Come on in.
For the past 30 years now, tour guide Greg Tracy has helped explain how early Sacramentans raised the city.
And so what they would do is they would trench around the building, so they have some working room here, and then every 8 feet, they would put one of these simple screw jacks.
Once the city was raised, new businesses formed in the basements.
This was a parlor house. Parlor houses at this time were basically entertainment areas for men.
Parlor houses were popular places for gold miners to come and spend their money. It was a place to get food, drinks, gamble, or partake in some risque activities.
I guess the ladies of the night also worked in this area here?
Joy ladies.
Joy
Right.
ladies.
Joy ladies.
Because there was no plumbing in the 1800s, the basement served another purpose.
This was the building's privy. This is where they dumped all this stuff.
And the privy was also not only just a dumping ground for...
Well, it was a toilet.
Ah.
As disgusting as it sounds, the privies or basement toilets would later become historically significant. You see, privies were also used as dumpsters that preserved loads of archaeological treasures.
What is this thing?
It's an archaeological dig from the Cosumnes River College. It's ongoing for about 30 years now.
So they're still digging here?
They're still digging here.
Some of the more interesting toilet artifacts include silverware, old bottles, horseshoes, and Greg's favorite, the community toothbrush.
There would be one bathroom per level, and then they would have one toothbrush per bathroom.
Despite being in a flood zone, the basement parlors and businesses did very well and operated for many years.
This flood that floods the California at this time, they figure is probably a 500 to 1,000 year storm. So we're not going to see another one like that anytime soon.
Did the people back then know that, or did they?
No, they didn't.
Greg says raising the city may not have been necessary, but it does give historians and tourists a good look into Sacramento's odd past.
From the underground tours in Old Sacramento, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
And to find more Bartell's Backroads destinations on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app, just go under the Shows tab, scroll down to Travel, and you'll see Bartell's Backroads right there on your screen. And of course, that app is completely free to download straight to your TV. As always, thank you so much for inviting us into your home each and every night. If you have something you think me and the team should be looking into, you can always email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. On that note, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe and enjoy the cooler weather. I'll see you right back here on Monday.